All right, so the problem here with this front panel is it's the fact, guys, pay attention. Luke, you do your thing. Is the fact that this line right here, right? It doesn't meet at an existing point. It hits this edge right here, right? And it actually, the other interesting thing is it extends farther forward than the hood here a little bit, right? And if you look at the top view here, it doesn't show that, right? It shows the hood stopping there. There actually should be another arc in front of it, a little bit farther out, where the front of this panel is. So this is a case where it's definitely worthwhile, again, when we did this last time, to go back and look at the actual photos of the Cybertruck. You may have not done that for a little while. It's worthwhile going back and looking at some of the real photos of the Cybertruck at this point, kind of see what's going on in the front end. It looks pretty simple, right? One panel, two panel, three panel, but this darn corner right here is giving me fits, all right? Because I need to make this line across. And I was trying to do it with an intersection curve, and I was able to make the line, but what happens is this corner ends up not being where I want it to be, and I'll show you what I mean. I think what we're going to have to do here is make this a closed surface by itself, and then stitch it to the other surfaces, which kind of brings them together. That line in this surface here, if I go and look at that line in the surface, right? That line right there, this is the trouble with everything. This darn line right here. All right, so I'm going to show you kind of how I got to where I got before, and hopefully we'll be able to figure it out, okay? All right, so first things first is I'm going to start a 3D sketch, right? In 3D sketch, it doesn't have project geometry. It has this thing called include geometry, right? So if you hit include geometry, I can click this line, and now that's a line in my 3D sketch, right? But watch this. This seems great, right? But watch when you zoom in on it. You'll see, oh, no, it's not doing it. You'll see oh, no, that's the problem. The original 3D sketch we used to make that line, it actually doesn't line up with this 3D sketch. I'd have to go over here and find it for you. But I noticed that. So that causes problems later on. So anyhow, first thing I'm going to do is include the geometry of this edge of this plane. Okay? So now that puts two lines in this 3D sketch. Another thing you might want to include is this corner right here. If you can get just that point. No, it's not going to let me. Let me see if I can put a point there. Yeah, look at that. In this same 3D sketch, all right, what I'm doing, I included these corners. These two edges, I did include geometry. You got that? Well, you can, but time out 1 second. Let me step back. Start a new 2D sketch, hit include geometry, click those two edges of that plane, of those side panels. Click the two edges. Got that? Now, you don't have to click on the corners. What you're going to do is add a point. See over here, point? See that? Point? I'm going to add a point in this 3D sketch where the corners of those arcs are. All right? Up here on top. All right? From the top view. It's just because there's going to be lines going from those corners down to the bottom. And I might want to reference those corners later on. So I'm just adding work points in this 3D sketch to those corners to be able to use as a reference later on. All right, I don't need to add points to the ends of this line, Bracken, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, you don't, because there's already points there, you know? Now, what I was trying to do, now, and you think this would work, but I had a heck of a time doing this. Check this out. This is mind-blowing. All right, I thought what I could do is add a point to the line right here, right? I thought, hey, add a point there, and then that'll show me where I need to do the sketch, right? And it's snapping to that line. It looks like it's snapping to that line. So if I click that line there, right, that point looks nice. But then, watch what happens. You change your view and zoom in on it, that point's not actually on the line. What the heck? Why is that not on the line? You know, it's maddening. So then I thought, okay, maybe what I got to do is add the point from this perspective. Right? Look, I just clicked the line and the point went over there. You see that? Look, I'm clicking this line and it's not putting the point on the line. It's like putting it off to the side. It's driving me crazy. So anyway, I hit escape. Let me undo those points. That's not going to work. The whole point is I need to make a sketch of the top view of this part, but it's got to connect to these lines somehow, right? And I don't think there's a way I can make it connect to these lines. I don't think there's a way the software can do that. So I think what we got to do is draw the line the best we can, and we're going to have to make lines, second lines going down to the bottom. The bottom I can get to connect. I can get the bottom image to connect to this corner here, right? But the fact that there's not a point on this line, I can't get the three-dimensional sketch to actually link up to it. And if it doesn't actually link up to it, guess what? You can't patch it, right? So what we got to do is get the line, but then we're going to have to add lines at the end to connect the ends down to the bottom, patch it. Now, the problem with that is the thread surfaces aren't going to be actually connected because there's going to be like a weird little gap. That's where the stitching comes into play. Stitching will tie the two together, the best fit basically, and couple them together, all right? At least that's the theory. I've done this 6 freaking times at this point. And it just struck me last night. I was literally in bed thinking, like, oh my god, I gotta get this front panel made. You know, this has been going through my head. This is one of these projects where it's like, it's in your psyche. You ever done something like that where it's like something for fun? I'm really enjoying this, but it's in my psyche now. So like, if my brain's resting, the Cybertruck will pop in my head. I'm like, how did I make that front panel? You know, it's like, I think of it like parallel processing, right? It's like, or Bitcoin mining, right? Like your brain's working on it while you're doing other stuff, and then your brain goes to sleep, and then that other thing starts turning up, you know? So here's what we got to do. Ready? You with me? With me now? You good? Kind of?
So
all you have are the 2 lines and the 2 points.
We got rid of the points just fine.
Those weird ones on the side, I was just showing you that because that was some of the madness I had with this project. Don't worry about those points on the side. They're not going to matter. So here's what we do. Ready? All right. We're going to add a work plane here. All right. So I'm going to get out of that 3D sketch. I'm going to leave those points there. They might be useful. They might not be. Those 2 in the front there that I made. And then the corners, those might be useful. Those side rails might be useful. They might not. I don't know. We're going to go plane, offset from plane. All right? Plane, offset from plane. We're going to offset it from that bottom plane. For me is the XZ plane. And then its position, I'm going to drag this up. I'm going to make its position be where I want that point to be. All right? Where I want that point to be. So I drag that up to right about there, where this is the line we're focused on, this bottom of the headlights, or the top of the bottom fender panel, bumper, whatever you want to call it. So I put a new work plane right there, and if it doesn't snap exactly where you want it, just adjust the number manually to get it where you want it. All right, you with me? Huh? What's it?